A Minnesota man was arrested for vandalizing multiple Teslas, but there's one big catch. He's not just any ordinary man, he's part of the Tim Walz administration. That's right, he's a Minnesota state employee who was caught destroying private property. According to the New York Post, Tim Walz, state employee, allegedly caused $20,000 in damage vandalizing Teslas, note that it's plural, weeks after Governor mocked automaker stock prices. Now, because Teslas have security cameras, we have lots of footage, many different angles, of the Tim Walz employee doing the vandalism. So, as you can see here, he's walking his dog, and in most of these videos, he's walking the same dog, but his outfit changes, which suggests that this was done over the course of several days. According to the Daily Mail, a member of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's administration has been repeatedly caught on camera allegedly vandalizing parked Tesla vehicles with his keys out while walking his dog. Now, this particular clip happened in a Target parking lot. He's been identified as Dylan Brian Adams. He's 33 years old, a fiscal policy analyst for the state of Minnesota. His LinkedIn profile confirms this. It's currently still public. Dylan Adams, fiscal policy analyst, and he's specifically part of the Department of Human Services, which of course is really ironic since he's a state employee who is destroying and vandalizing private property. As you saw there, he really goes out of his way to do the vandalism, crossing the street or just walking down the sidewalk. And in many of these clips, he's not just simply dragging his keys across. It really looks like he's leaving a message. We don't know yet what specifically he was carving in with his keys, but the estimates for damages are over $20,000, which is just absolutely insane. Now, if this were President Trump, we all know that the media would say that President Trump incited the man to do this, right? But because it's Tim Walz, I haven't seen any claims of that from the mainstream media. In fact, I haven't seen the mainstream media cover it at all. But again, we all know the opposite would be true. If a Trump administration employee was caught vandalizing private property, it would be a nonstop story for weeks. And I get there's a difference between the federal level and the state level, but even if it happened, let's say in the state of Florida, and a Ron DeSantis administration employee was caught vandalizing a Democrat boat owner's boat, again, the media would talk about how Republicans are destructive, Republicans are hateful, it's a hate crime. It would just be nonstop, yet it's crickets when it comes to this story. Now, Dylan Brian Adams does have a mugshot. I don't know about you, but to me, it looks like his eyes are red, so I don't know if he's been crying or if he's on drugs, and it definitely looks like he has bags under his eyes. So there's definitely something going on internally there, some sort of turmoil. But again, like I said, if this were President Trump, the media would accuse him of inciting this vandalism. But as always, context matters here, and this happened in a time when there have been increasing cases of vandalism against Teslas, private vehicles, as well as Tesla dealerships. And, you know, when you turn on the TV, late night talk shows, they're making fun of it. They're giving a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, keep doing this on cable news talk shows. They've seemingly been condoning it. We haven't seen Democrat leaders trying to stop this, telling their constituents to stop this. In fact, the only outrage you see has been on the right. And in fact, as mentioned in that New York Post article just a few weeks ago, Tim Walz himself was doing a town hall tour across the nation, and he was gloating, he was bragging, he was just oh so thrilled that Tesla has been struggling and that their stocks have been tanking.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, you know, and take out, just telling you.
Oh, okay. Like, take the T off? To me, that sounds like destroy your own car. Look, I'm not going to stoop to the low of Democrats. I'm not going to claim that Tim Walz incited his own state employee to go and vandalize these Teslas, but it makes you wonder, right? If a state employee knows that his boss hates Donald Trump, that his boss is maybe sympathetic to these people doing these crimes, does that perhaps give him the confidence to just do this? Like, would Dylan Brian Adams have done this if it weren't Governor Walz? Or did Governor Walz's comments, did his stance against Trump give him the gumption and the balls, the cojones to be able to do this? Just a question. I'm not making any accusations, but I think it's fair game to ask. Now, fortunately, he has, like I said, he's been arrested. He's facing charges, and it'll probably be a lot. You know, we've seen a few cases here. A University of Massachusetts student was arrested in Kansas City, and according to Fox News, she faces 20 years in jail. College spring breaker charged in firebombing of Tesla Cybertrucks at dealerships. So people are definitely getting caught here, and the tide definitely is turning in regards to justice. And even when justice isn't involved, karma is definitely playing a role here. So this gentleman, as you can see, is vandalizing a Tesla, doing a lot of damage, but he left his vehicle in neutral. And as you can see, his car is just rolling away. He's wiping his behind, you know, just oh so mature, very, very man-like, right? But his vehicle just went way down away, and he had to run to get it. So you'll love to see that. Last but not least, I would like to introduce you to this woman who is named Natasha Cohen, and guess what? She is a therapist. According to the New York Post, New York City woman who left swastika brick on Cybertruck is a woke therapist who blamed Elon Musk for tantrum. Now, what I absolutely find so ironic in all of this, because it's not just her. Many of these vandalisms, they've been leaving swastikas all over the cars. Now, she left a swastika brick, but I thought we were the authoritarians, right? The Democrats have been accusing Donald Trump. The Democrats have been accusing MAGA and Republicans of being Nazis, of being authoritarian, of being fascist, and yet they're the ones leaving swastikas anywhere. I mean, are you guys using your brain cells? But the best part of this story is she actually was taken into jail, and as she was walking out, I believe on bond, journalists were out there and asking her to smile for the cameras. You'll love this.
Cheese! 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 Back up off of us.
Hey, I mean, do the crime, you play dumb games, win dumb prizes, and look, Teslas have security cameras on them. Like, you're fine getting videotaped by the Tesla, but you don't want the media shaming you, watching you, reporting on you. Again, use the brain cells, whatever ones you have. Before I get to the last two stories for today's video, I would like to recognize the members of today's Governor's Club: Blake Patsy, USMC Carr, Ali Severino, and Colleen Daly. Thank you so much. Again, these are people who have given tips or super thanks to the channel. Really appreciate your support. So glad you enjoy the videos. Now, a few days ago, I reported that Democrat strategist James Carville called David Hogg a little twerp, and basically he was calling on the DNC to sue David Hogg. By the way, David Hogg is now the vice chair of the DNC. Well, David Hogg heard about James Carville's comments, and he was asked to respond to them. So this clip actually stitches both clips together, what James Carville said as well as David Hogg's response.
He's being paid to run against other Democrats. I think it's an outrage. I don't know if I have standing, but I might give the DNC $10 and sue him. He's a contemptible little twerp, if you ask me.
The well-known Democratic strategist James Carville said in response to this announcement of this plan that you have to primary Democrats, he said that the DNC should sue you and called you, quote, a contemptible little twerp. What is your reaction to that?
Try it. That is my reaction. I would also say James Carville has not won an election since before I was born. I think it's time to have new leaders in our party that are ready to meet this moment, because a lot of the people that are most critical of this plan are the same ones that had $2 billion to win an election and still lost. So I think the experts can save it, because it's time for some new ideas.
I just love this because the infighting is continuing. It shows you that the Democrats are still lost in the political wilderness. They still haven't found any traction. They have no idea what their message here. And what it really feels like is this battle. It's almost mirroring what happened with President Trump, MAGA, and establishment Republicans, right? But instead of MAGA and establishment Republicans, it's rather the old school Democrats and this new far left radical wing of the party that's represented by David Hogg, AOC, Bernie Sanders, and it's really scary that AOC, Bernie Sanders are gaining traction. Now, they are, based on most polls, either, the top spot for the 2028 contenders or in second place behind Kamala Harris. And they actually talked about this on CNN. They were shocked by some of the polling that Harry Enten was talking about. I think you'll find this interesting because not only are they talking about 2028, but they're still talking about President Trump's polling numbers. And there's been a lot of contradictory polling when it comes to deportations and when it comes to immigration. But even despite those contradictory poll numbers, Harry Enten is saying Trump is as popular as ever and people like what he's doing. And yes, that includes deporting the Maryland man who we all know is an MS-13 gang member.
Okay, let's talk about the polling, and then I want to talk about another thing you mentioned, which is the optics of it. But on the polling, because I think this is important. He's right. Trump has his best favorability on the issue of immigration broadly. But can I ask you to explain something to me?
Please.
You have some polling that shows Americans would be okay with everybody being deported who's here illegally. There's also polling that asks more specifically, if you have been in the United States for 10 years, you paid taxes, you have no criminal record, but you are undocumented, do you support deporting those people? 63% oppose that. So how do we even make sense of these numbers?
Yeah, sometimes it's so interesting. You poll the public, and it turns out the public can hold conflicting views even within themselves, right? And it's part of my job to figure out, okay, where do they actually feel on the overall immigration picture? And I think it's important to note, as we have mentioned, is that Donald Trump's net approval rating on immigration is actually positive, which is very much unlike his first term. If you ask, are we on the right track or the wrong track when it comes to immigration policy, the plurality say that we're on the right track, which is very different from where we were just a few months ago under Joe Biden. So, yeah, you see those polling and you see it's conflicting. It kind of actually reminds me a little bit of the gun control debate, right? Where you say, oh, my God, 90% background checks. And then, of course, you look at ballot measures in places like Nevada and Maine. And then when it's actually on the ballot, it's basically 50-50. In my opinion, on this particular topic, what we're really talking about and the metric we should be looking to is, do people like, when they ask, do you like what Donald Trump's doing on immigration? And if the plurality says yes, which is what's going on, then that's the number that I think is most representative of the public at large.
And it's not just immigration, right? Just right track, wrong track, big picture. Trump is doing better. That he's getting the highest approval ratings for right track, wrong track than we've seen in decades. So people definitely like what they're seeing. They knew what to expect from Trump. He's delivering on his campaign promises, and I think that's the big thing. The Democrats are acting as if Trump supporters and MAGA are turning on him and abandoning him, but no, he's been doing exactly what he said he would do on the campaign trail. Now, does that mean that everyone supports each and everything he does? No, of course not. But they know that they can trust him to do exactly what he promised he would do. And I think that's why you see those poll numbers continuing to rise, because people are getting exactly what they voted for. But as always, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So, question of the day, Dylan Bryan Adams, that Minnesota employee, honest question. Do you think he is just stressed out here? I really think there's something going on in the eyes, and they definitely look red to me, bags under his eyes. Do you think he is high on drugs? Do you think he was crying, embarrassed of being caught? Or do you think he just looks like that? I personally don't think he just looks like that based on his LinkedIn profile. The bags under his eyes aren't there. I'm not, by the way, to be very clear, I am not making fun of his personal appearance or his looks or any physical attributes that none of us can help, right? So I'm not trying to make fun of him for that. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is like if it's drugs, maybe that could explain. Not that it excuses, it doesn't excuse, but that definitely could explain his behavior when it comes to vandalizing Teslas. When it comes, if he was crying, I mean, boo-hoo, so sad for you, right? Like, so I think it's interesting in that sense. I'm just trying to read it and see, you know, like they say, a picture says 1,000 words, and I'm trying to understand here, you know, was he emboldened to do this by the Democrat rhetoric, including the rhetoric from Tim Walz, maybe under the influence, and now he's regretting it? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into the headshot, but definitely looks like there's some sort of emotion there, and I'm just trying to figure out what it is. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.